Welcome back to Sleep Well. We are doing another story, and we got our wine for this one. All right, we're not gonna get drunk, but we're gonna drink. We are reading a story called "My Son's Imaginary Friend is Dead" by cjgranger on Reddit. And this is posted to r/nosleep. The video looks like it's pretty popular amongst the Reddit community. There's a lot of likes and comments and like, oh my gosh, well done, gripping, fantastic. So we're gonna do it. And it's one of Andrea's fears, imaginary friends. So she was like, we gotta do it. So we're doing it. The best way to get over a fear is to constantly do stuff about it. I used to be scared of everything horror, and now I have a horror podcast, and I do horror streaming games, so look at that, right? Growth. But anyways, as always, Andrea's going to start first. There's a lot of dialogue in this one, so I'm going to have to do like 3 voices. Hopefully I can, uphold the standard to you guys, because I have heard that sometimes the voices sound the same per character. I'm working on it, all right? Stop yelling at me. But all right, we're going to go and start now.
Okay. The smell of freshly brewed coffee was strong in the air as I descended the stairs. I stretched languidly when I reached the bottom, my body still trying to wake up after a long, good night's sleep.
Good morning, all.
I announced as I made my way to the kitchen. I gave my wife Claire a quick peck as I passed by the stove.
Dad!
My son squealed, hopping out of his chair and rushing over. That never got old. Luke was 4 and a firecracker. I lifted the boy off his feet and swung him around, much to the chagrin of his mother, who was trying to get him to settle down long enough to eat his Cheerios. Noticing Claire's harried expression, I quickly dropped Luke back into his little chair to finish his breakfast.
How did you sleep, little man? Fine. Richard came to see me last night. Yes. And how is fine Reginald doing these days?
I asked with mock seriousness.
His name is Reggie, Dad, not Reginald,
Luke said, drawing out the last syllable, as if his name Reginald was an absolutely absurd moniker.
Apologies. How is Reggie doing?
My wife shot me a dark look. I knew I shouldn't encourage his new imaginary friend my son had concocted. Claire certainly did not approve, but I honestly couldn't see the harm in it. He was 4 after all. What 4-year-old hasn't had an imaginary friend? And we had just moved into a new home in a new village. I think it's his way of coping with being in a strange place and settling in. The move to Castlewood was somewhat unexpected. My job had offered the chance of a transfer along with a sizable promotion. It was too good of a deal to pass up. The drawback was, of course, that the abrupt change had left very little time for my child and wife to acclimate to our new surroundings.
He's okay. Just okay. That's too bad. What did good old Reggie have to say? Nothing much. Just stuff. Just stuff? Yeah, he said he doesn't like you.
I feigned distress.
No, Reggie, you wooed me.
I tickled Luke lightly, which resulted in a round of giggles.
Well, perhaps I can meet Reggie officially at your birthday party next weekend, and he will realize I'm not such a bad guy.
My son laughed brightly and responded nonchalantly.
That's silly, Dad. Reggie can't come. He's dead.
I heard the spatula my wife was holding clatter onto the stove. We both locked eyes. I paused for a beat before responding.
You say Reggie is dead?
I finally asked, looking back to my son.
Sure, he's been dead for a long time.
My son responded before spooning another mouthful of Cheerios into his mouth.
Mom, can I go play out in the garden now? I finished almost a whole bowl.
Claire looked slightly distracted before she nodded slightly to Luke.
Yes, but make sure to bring your bowl to the sink first. Yes, Mom!
Luke shouted, already running his half-full bowl cereal to the sink. He dashed out in the back garden without a second look back. I stared at his retreating figure.
What do you think that was all about? I don't know. Quite creepy, don't you think? My cat's in the way. Hold on. Toasty! Claire shot a look up to stay in my way. Are you asking me if there is a ghost haunting our house and if he visits our son at night? Really, John? What? You don't believe in ghosts? Of course not! It's a load of crap. Please, don't tell me you're actually believing in that nonsense. I don't know. I think there's a lot of in the universe that we don't understand. Who's to say there's nothing after death?
She turned back to my eggs she was still cooking.
That's ridiculous, John. Anyway, as you've said before many times, it's just a harmless imaginary friend, right?
She looked back over her shoulder at me.
Oh, right.
I muttered, only half listening at this point. My mind was on other matters now. I stared out the window watching Luke play in his sandbox.
Maybe I should stay in Luke's room tonight, check it out. Make sure there's not some weirdo sneaking into our son's room. Really? Don't you think that's a little overkill? What could hurt? It's Friday night. Mom would be happy to keep him for a sleepover. They can binge watch Paw Patrol while she gouges him for popcorn and sugar cookies, and you can get a night to relax in the tub with a glass of wine and good book.
She tried to look annoyed, but I could tell she was intrigued by the idea.
This is ridiculous,
she said half-heartedly.
Come on, a good soak and a night to yourself sounds pretty damn good.
She rolls her eyes. I knew I'd won.
Whatever. But if your mom is busy, it's off.
Just as I had predicted, Mom was pleased as punch to take Luke for the night. She picked him up early that evening, and Claire and I enjoyed a lovely night of carry-out pizza and cheap wine. I sent her off to have her bubble bath while I watched some goofy alien show on the History Channel. By 11 o'clock, I found myself getting sleepy and ready to turn in. After changing into my PJs and brushing my teeth, I announced to my wife that I was off to commune with the dead, in my hokiest, spooky voice. She was already in bed and engrossed in a paper bag. Have fun, she muttered, distractedly blowing me a kiss. I left
paper
the
bag. She's drunk off her ass.
Maybe
Why
a little
drunk?
bit.
God damn. She said, I had 3 bottles in the bathtub. I polished out 3 bottles.
It's the only way to do it if you're going to drink wine.
Barefoot rosé.
Have fun, she said. She muttered distractedly, blowing me a kiss. I left the warmth of our bedroom and shuffled down the hall into Luke's room. I flipped on the overhead light and looked around. The pale blue walls sported a large clown mural which stared back at me with a large toothy grin. I shuddered.
What?
Why oh why did my wife decide on a carnival theme for his new room? There was nothing creepier than a clown, hands down. I walked over to Luke's tiny bed with his striped blue comforter. My feet would hang off the edge, but I would survive. I crawled into bed and shut off the lamp that was shaped like an elephant. Darkness enveloped the room, save for a small nightlight in the corner shaped like a big top. The soft red light gave the clown a hellish glow. How did I not notice how freaking creepy this room would be at night? Turning away from that creepy-ass clown, I lay down and Turning away from the creepy-ass clown, I laid down and tried to best to slow my breathing and relax. I awoke up...
First off, pause. Who the fuck does a room like that? That is terrifying.
Terrifying.
Yeah, circuses are whimsical and fun and all, but not for a room that has a red light. That sounds terrifying. Clowns are scary to kids.
Yes, I mean, adults too. And it has a large toothy grin, and you can just see it with like the lights. No, that's terrifying. I wouldn't sleep in that room.
Thank you. That is bad parents.
Yeah.
If I was the dad, we're not doing this to his room. If I ever got a suggestion from my wife, like we're gonna do a carnival theme, the fuck we are. We'll do a horse theme. We ain't doing no damn carnival.
No.
Theme. We'll put elephants, but there ain't going to be no carnival.
No clowns allowed.
Yeah, no, that's crazy.
I awoke abruptly from a deep sleep to the sound of creaking. I had a moment of confusion as I tried to recognize my unfamiliar surroundings. Right, Luke's room. I rubbed the sleep out of my eyes and looked around trying to locate the source of the noise. The closet door in the far right corner was ajar. Hadn't it been closed when I went to sleep? Luke's tiny backpack swung slightly from where it hung on the doorknob.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Hello? Is anyone there?
Silence. I turned to my right and my gaze landed on the fucking clown. I really needed to talk to Claire about this. The nightlight still gave off that creepy red glow, making the room appear almost disorienting. I looked around the roof, noting the pile of stuffed animals in the corner and the bookcase by the door.
You're not blue.
My gaze whipped back over to the closet. The voice was quiet. I couldn't even be sure I had heard it.
Who's there?
I whispered to the closet. Again, silence met my query. Query? I rubbed my eyes. This was ridiculous. What was I even doing in here? I was working myself up over nothing. I was a grown-ass man sleeping in a tiny bed next to the arguably creepiest fucking clown in the universe. I threw the covers back and was about to swing my legs over to the side of the bed when I heard it again.
You're not blue.
I froze in place. There was no denying it this time. I had heard a voice coming from the closet. Slowly, as if I didn't really want to see, I drug my gaze towards the dark closet in the corner. From the red glow in the nightlight, I saw a tiny pale face.
Oh.
Nope.
Oh. No!
Only the top half of the face was visible. Large, dark orbs for eyes, a grayish-white forehead, and a matting of dark hair. The face stared at me from up in the closet, like it was some obscenely tall child standing just behind the wall. What the fuck?
Who are you?
The face remained still. I realized the eyes had not yet blinked.
Are you Reggie?
At the sound of the name, the face abruptly disappeared and I heard a scrabbling noise come from the closet.
Or it was Luke.
The voice was louder and coarser this time, with Luke's name coming out gravely and angry from the child.
He's not here.
I said, glad to hear my voice steady this time.
What do you want?
There was silence for several seconds. Finally, the voice spoke, softer this time.
What? Blue.
I was shocked into silence for a few beats.
You can't have Luke.
I raised my voice defensively. The room suddenly grew cold and the air crackled. The hairs on the back of my neck stood up.
Fucking pause.
Nope.
That's crazy. I don't like that.
I don't like that either.
I don't like any of this. The story is starting off crazy. I don't like that. No thanks. I would. Oh my god. If it was my room, I'd pull the gun out of my nightstand and I would start blasting. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. That's crazy.
He said it was a child, right?
No, it's just no, he just saw a face. I don't like that. No, I don't like that.
No, thank you.
Don't
I
like
don't like it.
Mm-mm. No thanks.
Before I could say anything in response, I spotted movement at the floor of the closet. The white face was back, and I could see it more clearly from this vantage. It was the face of a child, but corrupted. This was not a child. The skin was sickly thin, the eyes were sunken, almost desiccated. Dark circles surrounded the black eyes. The lips were pale and bloodless and were curled into a sickening grin. It was the teeth that shook me the most. They were extremely small, thin, and jagged, as if each tooth had been broken intentionally to create this serrated maw. The chin rested directly on the floor, and the face looked directly at me with an anger such as I had never seen on the face of. The chin rested directly on the floor, and the face looked directly at me with an anger such as I had never seen on the face of a child. It was a face of pure and utter rage.
Oh.
The face stared for a few seconds before the child's creature began to move. No, not move, slithered. With its limbs tight by its body, it slithered on its belly from the closet, all the while whispering in an increasingly sibilant voice.
Light blue. Light blue.
I backed up as far as I could until I was pressed against the headboard of Luke's tiny bed while the child snaked itself forward. Soon, the head and shoulders were no longer visible. I soon lost sight of its pointed white feet as it continued to glide forward. I just have this mental picture of it, and it's just not a good picture.
Giving me Harry Potter vibes.
Oh, I think the slithering part of it definitely brought me there for a second.
Yeah. Like when, I'm pretty sure, if I'm not remembering wrong, I'm pretty sure one of them turned into a snake at one point, and that was kind of like that. I don't remember.
I have no idea.
But I know there were snakes in it. It's giving me Harry Potter vibes.
The child was under the bed. I gripped the small mattress with both hands, not knowing what to do. My heart rate was through the roof, and beads of sweat had welled up on my forehead. The mattress jolted as the creature underneath grabbed onto the springs from below as if it were some deranged bat. The springs of the tiny mattress groaned from the extra weight. Slowly, I could feel the movement of the creature as it moved one hand and then another, until I could finally see tiny, jagged fingernails appear on the side of the bed.
Oh.
I'd never understood the term paralyzed with fright. I always imagined that face with the raging monster or axe murderer. I could easily find the willpower to get my ass in gear and move. But in this moment, the ability to move had absolutely abandoned me, and I was forced to watch in silent horror as a tiny dead hand was joined by another. I shut my eyes tight, together unwilling to have that horrible impersonation of a child burned into my retinas. And it was then that I heard it.
John, come back to bed. This is ridiculous.
The lights clicked on, and I finally regained the use of my muscles to turn my head and open my eyes. The visage of my wife came into view.
John! Are you okay?
I stared at her for a beat before I whipped back around to the side of the bed where the hands had grasped the mattress only moments before. Nothing. I released the breath I hadn't even realized I was holding.
I'm fine. All fine.
She looked towards where I had been staring. Not saying anything, she continued.
Come on, back to bed. Can't sleep without you. It gives me the creeps sleeping alone.
She turned and left, her robe trailing behind her. I waited for a full minute, listening intently for any sound. All was quiet.
Hesitantly, I lowered one foot and then the other to the floor. As I stood up, I fully expected to see a tiny, ragged hand reaching from below the darkness of the bed to grasp my ankle, but none came. I couldn't bring myself to look under the bed. Possibility of coming face to face with that hideous mockery of a child made me feel sick. Instead, I turned around and walked out the room and shut the door behind me. Back in my bedroom, with my wife sleeping peacefully beside me, I laid awake for hours, unable to get the face of the child from my mind. Unable to sleep, with fear that I would awake with those small, cold hands wrapped around my throat, that snake-like voice whispering in the darkness. I must have drifted off because the next thing I knew, it was morning. Sunlight shone through the partially open blinds. Birds chirped annoyingly outside the second-floor window. I rubbed the sleep from my eyes as I contemplated the prior evening. I couldn't let Luke stay in that room again. Not with that thing in there. No, I had to do something. I had to protect my son. I grabbed my laptop from where it lay gathering dust under my nightstand. The thing took what felt like hours to load. when I was finally able to get the dinosaur up and running. I loaded up my web browser and began my research. How to get rid of ghosts. The cursor blinked rapidly as it mocked me. I quickly backspaced and typed DIY exorcism. Okay,
Fair.
that was worse. Cleansing spirits from my house. That was better. I hit enter. The results were mixed as was to be expected, but finally found a few websites that gave me the information I needed. A few hours later, I had a plan, and I had a name. Reginald Ward. Let's pause right here. He found the name of the fucking ghosts. That means it's not a fucking ghost, by the way.
No, that means it is a ghost.
Only known names that are on the websites are demons and poltergeists. Not ghosts.
Well,
unless the kid died in the house, and maybe that's how he knows the ghost name. That's crazy.
Yeah, I could see it being a demon. Do you remember his description? That thing was terrifying. Yeah, I would be scared.
Go ahead, read this next part right here.
The little shit was named Reginald after all. It appeared that, unbeknownst to me or my wife, our home had been the scene of the tragic death of an 8-year-old boy in 1907. You were right. Reginald Ward, according to what I found online, had passed away from consumption.
That's not a fucking murder.
It just said tragic death.
Oh, okay, well.
Sorry.
I was thinking like tragic as in like double
Murder.
Homicide.
Yeah. I mean, consumption is probably pretty tragic, I would think.
Yeah, it's tuberculosis.
Or tuberculosis, as it's commonly referred to these days. As distressed as I was to learn that our new home was the scene of the horrific death of a child, I was even more distressed that said child was still in residence. I shuddered to think about what had befallen that child over the past decade to turn it into this thing. My wife poked her head in the doorway, staring at me startling out of...
Oh my goodness.
My wife poked her head into the doorway, startling me out of my thoughts.
What are you doing? You've been in here all morning. Nothing.
I hedged, slowly closing the laptop screen so as to not make her suspicious.
Just looking at stuff online. Okay.
She drew out the word while giving me an odd look. Yep, she was definitely suspicious. I had to think quickly.
Of course. No one says just looking at stuff online. That's such a weird...
While slowly closing the laptop.
It's such a weird thing to do. Don't even close the laptop. Just like, just online.
Yeah.
Like, say something better than that. Hey, you've seemed really stressed lately. What if I had my mom keep Luke for another few hours and you had a spa day?
Her eyebrows perked up.
Seriously? I thought you said that spa days were the most useless way to spend your time and money.
My smile was tight. It was true. I thought it was an entire waste of money. You literally got nothing out of it. But I had to get her out of the house somehow. She couldn't be here when I was performing the cleansing.
Nonsense! You deserve it! Go ahead! Give them a call and set it up!
She couldn't help the grin that spread across her face.
You don't have to twist my arm!
She yelled as she turned around and scurried downstairs to make the call. I stopped myself from mentally tallying how much this little outing would cost me and focused my attention back on the task at hand. I felt like I had a pretty good idea of how to get rid of Reggie. From what I read online, it was better to do the cleansing at night, but I didn't have that sort of time. I had to deal with this now. I made the quick call to my mom to see if she could keep Luke until that evening. After coordinating the time that she would drop him off, I quickly dressed and hurried downstairs.
But I'm gonna run a few errands. I'll be back in a bit. Okay, I'm heading to the spa in half an hour. They had a cancellation for a deluxe package at the last minute. Isn't that great?
I mentally groaned, but pasted a smile on my tense face.
That's great, honey. Have fun.
I grabbed my keys and hurried out to my car.
45 minutes later, I walked back into the house carrying my assorted purchases. Claire's car was gone, so I didn't bother calling out for her. I was alone. Well, not alone exactly. I carried my purchases upstairs and opened the door to Luke's room. The red curtains were drawn, and the room seemed just as creepy as the night before. They had turned rainy and dreary, so what little light came through the curtains gave the room that same dim glow as the previous night. I shuddered, shutting the door. I emptied the bag of items on the floor. I paused to take stock of my haul. A small, wrapped bundle of sticks, as I was told was called a sage smudging wand, an abalone shell, a large feather, a container of coarse salt, and a Bible. Pulled up my phone and found the article I had been referring earlier. I quickly read the instructions just to be sure I had everything correct. I first grabbed the salt and sprinkled a line across the bedroom door. This was supposed to prevent the spirit from going into another part of the house during the cleansing. I didn't know if this would do shit, but I wasn't taking any chances. Next, I placed the abalone shell on the top of the Bible. The Bible wasn't specifically in the instructions, but figured certainly couldn't hurt. Again, I was taking no chances.
I walked over to the window and pulled back the red curtain. The rain was really coming down now. I opened the window slightly. The purpose of this, I had learned during my hurried research, was to give the spirit a pathway to leave the house. I didn't want to get rainwater all over my son's bedroom floor, so I only opened a smidge. That should hopefully be enough. I pulled out a small lighter from my pocket and flicked it on. The small flame wavered in the semi-darkness of the small room. I picked up the smudge wand and lit the end. Red embers glowed as the stick caught fire. I quickly blew the open flame out, but the end of the smudge wand continued to slowly smolder, the red embers causing a fragrant, earthly smoke to emit from the end. I quickly dropped the smoldering stick into the abalone shell and picked it up along with the Bible. With my other hand, I grabbed the large feather. I was ready. I began to circle the room. With each step, I could use the feather to waft the smoke, blanketing the room in that thick, earthy smell. I continued to circle the room twice more, keeping silent as I wafted the smoke, permeating the room. After 3 rounds, I spoke.
Reggie Ward, command you in the name of God to leave this place. You're not welcome here, and you must leave.
I paused momentarily in my path. Nothing happened. I continued again.
Reggie Ward, I command you in the name of God to leave this house. You're not welcome here, and you must leave.
Still nothing. I started walking again.
Reggie Ward, in the name of God, I command you to leave.
At first, I thought there had been no change. Slowly, I began to realize that there had, in fact, been a shift. I could no longer hear the rain. It was as if a thick layer of cotton had encased the room. The air was heavy and dense. I almost had the feeling of being underwater. I could hear my heartbeat increase.
Reggie, in the name of God, I command you to leave.
On the word leave, I heard a thump from the closet. I paused in my pacing and stared over at a closet. The door was slightly ajar. The thick darkness enveloped the inside of the small closet. Without removing my eyes from the closet, I started again.
What is it? I command you in the name of God, leave this place.
Another thump, and then so low I could barely hear it, a hissing sound, not unlike breath whistling from between clenched teeth. A deep, long scratching shortly joined the hissing.
Reggie, I command you in the name of God to leave. You are not welcome here.
The hissing became louder, and from the depths of the dark closet, a small moaning voice.
Don't.
The word was dragged out in a hissing rasp.
Reggie, you must leave now!
I yelled towards the closet.
Out!
The hissing, breathy rasp was louder this time. From the darkness of the closet, those two horrible small gray hands emerged and clasped on the door frame.
Don't laugh at me.
John!
The sound of my name in the sibilant tongue literally made my skin crawl.
John! Don't!
I did not comply.
Reggie Ward, in the name of God, I command you to flee this house.
The top of the small gray face joined the hands. The dark eyes had a weary look. I could almost feel sorry for the creature, but I did not. Quieter this time, I spoke again.
Reggie, you must leave.
Wisps of smoke began to emerge from the small hands, as if there were some great internal flame churning just beneath the skin. The entity did not appear to be able to speak any longer. Only the ragged, shrill hiss filled the air. I watched with trepidation as the hands fell abruptly to the ground. I could see the sharp nails gouging crescents into the floorboards as it laboriously began to drag its body out of the darkness of the closet. In the light of the storm, and in its weakened state, the creature was pitiful. Gray molted skin rippled as the smoke drifted almost casually from its surface. The thing lifted its large black eyes to me in supplication. With great effort, it spoke.
Don't!
I did not have a chance to respond. The smoke enveloped the creature. It swept slightly through the opened window. I did not have a chance to respond. The smoke enveloped the creature. It swept silently through the open window. I stood still for several seconds before my knees finally gave out. I had not even realized the toll the process had taken on me until this very moment. I wiped a thin layer of perspiration from my brow as I looked towards the empty closet. It was over.
So, before we move on, I feel like what he did was not good. I feel from the interaction, right? Obviously, the thing was pretty fucking scary.
Uh-huh.
But it kept saying, don't, as in, hey, don't, dispel me, because more bad things are going to happen, right? So I feel maybe Reggie was protecting the kid, and now that Reggie's no longer there, I feel something worse is going to happen.
Yeah.
We're only halfway through the story, so it's going to keep going, right? And also, he said he was like really pleading. He was Luke, he said, John, don't. This is not good. You're gonna put your kid in danger. So that's speculation. I might be completely fucking wrong, but I feel like maybe that's what's gonna happen. Maybe what he did was actually not good, and that more bad things or worse things will happen now.
I think you might be right. Also, it was a DIY exorcism, so maybe he didn't do it right.
That's true. DIY, what's that?
Do it yourself.
Okay, got it.
But I guess we'll see how much creepier this gets.
Okay.
Later that evening, my wife and I sat on the couch, each nursing a glass of white wine. I had not said much after she got home, and she relaxed and zenned out after her day of pampering. Had not pressed. I had not fully processed all that had happened within the last 24 hours. Honestly, I wasn't sure if I could ever process it, but to know my son was now safe was solace enough for me. I took a large swig of the sweet wine and leaned back into the soft sofa. The doorbell rang, and before I could even set down my glass, the hurried footfalls of my son rushing through the hallway reached my ears.
Dad!
Luke rushed into the living room and launched himself at us. Chuckling, we hugged the rambunctious boy as he told us all about his adventure at Grandma's. He was talking so fast, I could only make out every third word. From what I could tell, they had a boatload of fun making cookies, playing games, and eating lots and lots of junk food. My mom entered the room at a more sedate.
You're right the first time.
Sedate pace.
Jeez, Luke, let me breathe, bud. I'm going to see Reggie. Can't wait to tell him about the new puzzle Grandma got me. Before I could say
anything, he was already bounding up the stairs and giggling with excitement. My mom shook her head.
He could not stop talking about his friend Reggie all weekend.
She sat down on the edge of the chair next to the couch where Claire and I still lounged.
Well, I have a feeling you won't need to worry about Reggie anymore.
My wife gave me a sideways, curious look, but I ignored it.
It was the strangest thing, though. When I asked him about Reggie, he said he was dead. I know. Rather creepy, isn't it? Yes. I thought so as well. But he said that he was his friend and that Reggie protected him from the others.
He called it.
God damn it! I scared the shit out of my cat. I knew it! I fucking knew it!
Damn.
I knew it! I called it!
You called it.
Oh my god. Oh my god. We're only halfway through the story!
Yeah, that couldn't have been it. He couldn't have just... Damn.
This is fucking crazy. Let me go feed my cat real quick.
Okay.
This is just... The others? That sounds way worse!
Not just the other.
That sounds way worse!
The others.
Multiples! Oh my god, what? Oh. This is just crazy. I cannot believe. That's so wild.
My gaze shot to my mom.
What did you say? Yeah, it kinda creeped me out. He said that the others that lived in the attic were mean and tried to come down and hurt Luke. He said that Reggie wouldn't let them, that he protected him and kept him safe. When I tried to press him on it, he clammed up.
A cold chill swept over my body. The others? Suddenly, the rasping voice of Reggie came back to me.
Want Luke.
It was as if the floodgates opened in that moment and I fully understood.
Oh my
Reggie
god.
didn't want Luke. He was trying to tell me that they wanted Luke.
Oh my god.
The others wanted Luke. Reggie had been trying to warn me. He had tried to scare me into leaving. He had tried to scare me into leaving. He had tried to help me to protect my son. I quickly set down my wine glass and snatched the blanket off my legs. Before I could stand fully, the sound of my son's screams met my ears.
Oh, it's over.
That was
wrong.
it.
It wasn't halfway through. That was the whole story. Bro. I'm gonna keep reading sad stories. There's no happy endings in horror stories. I swear. Oh my god. Well, he just killed his son.
Basically. I'm reading this comments and it's not a real story. It was a follow-up. I, male 35, exorcised my son's male 8 guardian spirit, male 112. Am I the asshole? Damn. Okay. That sucks.
Where's that comment? That's really funny.
So it's the very first one that says, up next, did I fuck up by exorcising the guardian monster in my son's closet? And then I, male 25, exorcised my son's male 8 guardian spirit, male 112. Am I the asshole?
I don't see that one.
What?
It's different for me.
And then another one, the R malicious compliance, like that thread. Today a guy exorcised me despite me being the spirit guardian, so now I let his son get killed. That's fucked up.
That's fucking funny.
But it got
Is there
voted
more
not.
to the? Is this more to the story? This was awesome. Well, the son is dead. I doubt that. What else would be just right about?
Yeah.
Great story. Please tell me Reggie comes back to save the day in the second part. It's the second part. That's funny as fuck. Those comments are unhinged. Oh, you know what? I know I don't have the comments. I'm reading on a different storyboard. That's why. Hold on.
Oh.
Yeah. Hold on. Look at these funny ones. How did you even end up buying a house that's double haunted? Shake my head. Do your research. Although it doesn't help that little Reggie apparently refuses to us his words and appears as a creepy as hell closet creature. All in all, I don't really see how this mistake could have been avoided. Pretty critical mistakes were made on both sides. And good luck to your son too, I guess.
That was
You literally got nothing out of it, says the person who's clearly never had a spa day.
that's what I was thinking.
You fricked up hard this time. You assumed too coolly, and now you paid the price. Oh,
That was-
bitch! Go to the attic with more Bibles and try again. Damn it, John! Why you gotta do a restaurant?
That was a good story. Wait, read that again?
Oh, damn it, John! Why you gotta do a Reggie wrong like that? These comments are unhinged. Oh my god. What the fuck, Reggie? You should have a full combos with Luke, but you can't just explain the others to his dad in one complete sentence.
And this, my friend, is why we don't assume. You better try to get Reggie back and fast.
I feel tough for Reggie. He wasn't as if he was even annoying the family or haunting Luke for any of that matter.
This was a good story.
It was really good. It was really good.
Didn't end how I thought it was gonna end, but
No.
it was a good story.
Did not end out. I thought it was going to be more, and they just left on a cliffhanger. So I really like that, by the way. So, to go into, like, the storytelling, right? I'm into it. I know people hate cliffhangers, but I think for scary stories like this, and for the author to do such a good story, right? The story is fantastic, right? It's written really well. There's no grammar errors. It's like, it's fluid.
Yeah.
And what happens a lot of the times is that they'll do a part 2 and they'll ruin the whole story, right? It's very rare. The one that we read, those parts were really good. Like, each part was very good and thoughtful because there was, like, different perspectives, right? So it was like building a universe. For this one, I don't want a second part. It is so good without having a second part. I really like that. That's like a unique talent that some writers have where they can write a really good story and leave it with a cliffhanger to let the viewers and the audience know, like, to, like, speculate and, you know, contemplate on what happened after that.
Yeah.
I think it's very well done. I think if they were to write a part 2, it would ruin the whole story. I don't think you can go anywhere from this, right? I think it ends perfectly. A really good, like, even a short film, it'd be a good short film because it would just end on, like, a really scary note. And, like, it's more scary that there's no ending. It's more ambiguous. I like that. I like that about horror stories when they write it that way. As I read a bunch where there's a part 2 and it just ruins the whole thing. You're like, because the writer loses interest or they don't know how to end it and they just do something silly and then it just ends bad, you know?
I can see that.
So
But
I think
this
they did a
was
good
good.
job.
I liked
I
it.
think
This was
a good story. Well, great story. The story was really good. The comments were very good too. We should really look into more Reddit stories because we found some good ones here. But hope you guys enjoyed. I did enjoy this one. I think I got the dialogue down pretty good. I think everyone could tell who was who. But yeah, thanks for watching. And as always, sleep well. You know? If you can. Hopefully Reggie is not under your bed trying to tickle your feet at night. Or the others trying to get your booty, you know? Who knows what they do. So, for good night, like and subscribe, follow, and I will see you guys in the next one.